Hello traders, today is January 18th, 2025. Recording this video on a Saturday. Keep in mind, this content is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. I'm going to start the video with Apple. And as we are seeing what is going on here in Apple, on Thursday, you had a pretty nasty day, 4% to the downside, under 220, 230, actually, you closed under 230. And I was pretty sure we were actually going to hit 225 the following day. That didn't happen. You had a little rally pre-market and then a sell-off during the trading day. If we go to the 5-minute, you can see that we had a rally as we opened pre-market, moved very nicely to the upside, but then that momentum fade away. One of the things that I think is a little bit concerning is that Apple is still looking pretty weak compared to the rest of the Magnificent Seven, which at the end of the day, we can argue that there's no need to compare Apple with, the other 6 names. MACD and TSI are also looking weak. RSI is pointing up, but I think it might actually have more room to continue going down. We'll see. I think what will happen between Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be critical for Apple and to understand any kind of direction. By the end of the week, next week, we're probably going to have a clear understanding if this is going to continue selling off towards 225 or even lower towards the 200 SMA, which is this line right here. And at that point, you're probably going to be somewhere around 220. Interesting. Keep in mind or keep an eye on this level of support. 230, I think, is critical. But again, I still think that Apple is continues to look weak. We'll see what kind of momentum. We'll see what we get on Tuesday. But I'm not having high expectations right now for Apple. Now let's move on to the next name, and that is AFRM. And it's also looking weak. Yet I do think there might be some move to the upside. Now, why am I saying that? It's because the MACD and the TSI are starting to curl and look right now a little bit neutral as far as the MACD line and the TSA line. The RSI, did I say TSA? TSI. The RSI is also looking neutral. And this chart is not looking that bad. Now, one thing that is a little concerning is levels of liquidity in some of the areas of support. So you have low liquidity at 51, and you have low liquidity between here, basically between 51 and 71. That could be a little bit concerning. We'll see what kind of reaction we get in the next week or so. I think a firm needs a little more time to give us direction. This can continue if we argue that you got rejected on resistance, and this can continue towards support. And if you break support, then 51 is going to come in a hurry. But for now, I'm just keeping an eye on the lower indicators, these guys right here, MACD, TSI, RSI, and see how we behave. We can definitely go down towards support, which is 55.5 or 55.6, and see if we get a retest and move to the upside. For now, I think we just have to keep an eye. I don't think this name is tradable to the upside, at least for now, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on a firm. Let's move on to a name I haven't mentioned in a while, and that is CAVA. And it's looking interesting. You have a retest on support right here at 110. You did it again, and you're about, if you actually think this is a double top or double bottom, let's go to that for a minute, or 4 hour, I'm sorry. If you think this is a double bottom, then you're about to break the neckline on this area. I do believe that it will be a better trade once you start moving towards the 35 SMA with momentum, and at that point maybe breaking resistance at 126. By then the MACD and the TSI are going to have more divergence between the lines and the signal lines, and you might actually see a more obvious move. Now, for an anticipation of the move, maybe you can argue, which I think is very risky, that you're about to break the neckline on this tiny double bottom on the daily chart. and maybe continue moving. But I think it's critical to break resistance first. I think at least to minimize risk, in my opinion, if you want to go to the upside. Now, I do think that CAVA fundamentally is expensive stock, but I am not here to give fundamentals. I am here to tell you what I see on the chart. So 126 is critical for resistance. If we break, there might be an opportunity here to go on the upside. Earnings are not coming anytime soon. They're about 2 months away, so, or month and a half away. So I wouldn't be too worried about that type of volatility yet, but which gives you an opportunity to actually check on the chart. Now, one thing that would be fantastic, in my opinion, is if we actually get into range between 110 and 126, and we range on this area, consolidate, and go back up. But for now, I think it's critical to keep an eye on resistance and see how we behave right on that area. Now let's move on to Costco. And I think I mentioned Costco. I don't think I mentioned. Oh yeah, I did mention Costco on the 11th. We were on this candle right here. I did buy Costco calls right here. And what I said in one of these videos was that I like the fact that Costco and some of these stocks that I used to trade back in the day, they move, Caterpillar, Costco, what else? Bank of America, JPM. I used to trade those names, and the reason for that is because it was, I think they are safer. The moves are slower. They're, I wouldn't say predictable, because stocks are not, too predictable, but you can actually anticipate or maybe see some moves that might be coming. And in that sense, you can have a little bit of an edge on the move. Now, I got some calls right here. I did sell on Friday. I do think I'm going to jump in back on Tuesday. Why did I sell on Friday? Well, I can tell you why. I just wanted to risk a little bit. I have positions on AMD and Apple. They are not doing too well, to be honest. But I also have positions on Amazon, and I did get some HIMS as well. And I'm going, I have puts on FUBO as well. So considering how expensive these contracts were, and considering that they were very green, I just decided to sell Costco and take my money. And some of the fears that I had, and the reason why I felt like I had to de-risk a little bit, was the inauguration. I wasn't comfortable with the inauguration being outdoors, and I just had this feeling of like, how are you going to secure a president that has been, that had, people have been trying to kill him at least twice that we know. Well, it turns out now that the inauguration is going to be indoors, and that gives me a little more of a sense of I'm not as paranoid, which is now why I'm thinking that Costco is gonna, I'm gonna get back in Costco. Now MACD and TSI on Costco is looking pretty good. They're about to cross their signal line. Costco closed on Friday at 2.55%. Very nice move. Let's take a look at how it behaved, because I was looking at the 15-minute chart on my phone, and you could see this. Very nice move. Very, very nice. So I think I'm gonna jump back in. By the way, Walmart is also looking great. I'm not gonna cover Walmart, but Costco and Walmart are definitely looking very good. So Costco, I see opportunity here. My calls would probably be January or August. They are not cheap, but make me feel a little more safe when I do that. Anyways, let's move on to, since I was mentioning FUBO, let's talk about FUBO. And I did buy some puts on FUBO. Are they going to work out? I hope they do. And the reason why I bought them is because now you're closing under this level of support. Now, the following day, in this case, for example, on Tuesday, you had a little move to the upside, and now you're playing with support. So this trade might be a little bit risky, which I'm okay with it. I did buy puts in this candle. I think I sold them either on this candle right here, actually close to support. So I'm going for the next leg of the move, and we'll see how this plays out. MACD and TSI, I mean, they obviously look bad. And even though there is a lot of people on X saying that FUBO is gonna have the next, move to the upside, I I personally don't see it. Most people are looking at the 1 hour chart, which doesn't look bad at all, right? Like you have this consolidation here, and the thesis that some people have is like, well, we have this consolidation. Now we're gonna move. Now the next move to the upside is coming. Well, not if you zoom out to different patterns or different time frames, and the one or the daily frame, the daily chart is not lying. Um, you know, the weekly is also not looking too good. MACD and TSI on the weekly, they are like very pushed to the upside, and we'll see how we behave. The TSI is already very stretched on the weekly, and the MACD is not looking too bad on the weekly. It's pretty much flat, but we'll see what we get. I think this is going to pay out. I'm probably going to sell sometime by Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. And I think my calls for FUBO are March or April. I don't know. I think they're March on FUBO. So that's what I have for FUBO. I think this is going to continue going down. You have very low liquidity here. MACD and TSI are not looking good. RSI is again crossing the signal line and pointing down. So I do think that it could be, there could be opportunity there. I'm going to leave it there. Now let's move on to HIMS. I mentioned HIMS too earlier on this video, and I did buy some calls. I bought them, and I'm gonna tell you why. So Bank of America, I think it was on Friday, yesterday, they made a report stating that they have seen slowing down credit card, um, I guess, action, uh, you know, on HIMS, and I think that is silly. That there's been similar reports before, and Bank of America has been wrong about this type of reports before. I don't think credit card usage on a specific product um, is a gives you a full idea of how the consumer is behaving and how the company is actually, or what the company is actually doing for customer acquisitions and how they are managing the business in general. Let's go to the 5 minute, and I'll tell you, I did buy calls somewhere around here, and then I left them there. These calls are for July, and we'll see how they pan out. I do think that HIMS, one of the things that I really like about Friday is that buyers really came back after this sell-off. So you had this initial sell-off from basically, pre-market. You had this sell-off. You went all the way almost to 25.4, and now look at this. We had a very nice move. Buyers stepping in. This is not looking bad at all. I like how this is accumulating more liquidity in this area. I don't know. I do think that HIMS is gonna start moving towards 29.7. Once we get to that area, then we can reassess based upon volume and momentum, and see how things work out. But yeah, I jumped into HIMS again. Now let's take a look at another name that I mentioned in prior videos, and that is Triple M, and very nice move. I talked about this name on this candle right here on Monday the 13th. I was looking at the 35 SMA. I was looking at this trend line. You were breaking, retesting, and then bouncing here again on the 35 SMA. And now you're moving up very, very nicely. If you cut this move, fantastic. That'll be great. I think it has a little more fuel. and how this looks. So we'll see. I think this is not looking bad at all. I think this has more room for continuation. Let me take a look. I'm not look at that. Look at the weekly chart. It's not looking bad at all. Wow. Beautiful. Well, if you actually cut this name, great. Again, I mentioned this right on this candle right here on Monday the 13th. And actually, let me take a look. Yeah, on the 13th. Very nice looking chart, to be honest. Now let's take a look at Nike and finding support at 70 again. I think if it breaks 70, I'm not sure where the next 17. From 70 you go down to 60, which is what was this COVID? Probably. Yeah. So that's your next level, 60. Well, we'll see how we behave. I think that Nike at this price point is very cheap. Do I think it's gonna move up anytime soon? I wouldn't touch it until it start breaking resistance level. So if it goes up and goes to 74.5, you're probably gonna be meeting the 35 SMA at that level, and you have to see if it's gonna break this indicator once it reaches this area. Now, if it breaks support right now, which is 70, then you have a problem in your hands. I do think that this level is holding very strong right now, but I think that based upon the lower indicators, you definitely have a little more room to the downside. So be very mindful. Nike is one of these names that, you know, it's getting tricky. You know, a lot of people are jumping in it. I don't think it's a bad idea if you're buying shares, but if you're buying options, you have to wait. You just have to sit on your hands and wait, because I think this is gonna give you an opportunity, but you have to see what happens right here at 70. If it breaks to the downside, I wouldn't touch it. But if continues to retest and consolidate in this area, you might actually find or get a nice move to the upside. So Nike is looking interesting, but it's not tradable to the upside, in my opinion, not at this point. Let's talk about Palantir. And it's not looking bad at all. Now, the chart looks pretty crazy. This was such an insane move. Look at this. Since May of 2023. Look at this. Insane. Very nice. Very beautiful. Now, you got under this level of support 66.3, which was at one point prior highs. Under the 35 SMA, now you're over 66.2 and right under the 35 SMA. I think if you break that 35 SMA, you're gonna move to the upside again. MACD and TSI are starting to look more enticing. They're looking good. The RSI is, you know, right at 50 and about to cross the signal line. This is interesting. I think Palantir might be setting up for the next move up. Now let's go and take a look at, where are you? QQQ. And let me take a note right here very quick. Look at this. Let's put a trend line. NQ has a similar setup. SPY, I believe, is looking very similar as well. Let's go, since I mentioned SPY. Yeah. Let's put another line here. Okay. So this is not looking bad at all. You know, you have this move into, like on Monday, you were down at 490, 500. And now you're up at 521. Buyers, as you can see, stepped in. Wasn't enough, but you had this nice move pre-market, little bit of a sell-off, and then you came back up into well, the rest of the day. It's not looking bad in my opinion. I think that we might, I could be wrong, but we might have a short-term rally into Trump's official presidency, second term, and we might actually hit this level right here, 139, or we might actually go higher than that. But I think we're gonna rally in the next few days. there's a lot of setups that are looking fantastic. This is one of them. I do think that SPY is also looking good, and a lot. There's definitely a lot of setups. If I have time this weekend, I'm going to post a bunch of charts on X. But as far as what I'm seeing right here, look at the MACD, look at the TSI, look at the RSI, and look at the candles. You're right over the 35 SMA on the daily chart. Let's get rid of this just to clean this up. And this is not looking bad at all. You know, I like it. QQQ. Now let's do another name that I find quite interesting, and I gave you a similar. Well, let's find it first. Okay. Reddit. Let's talk about Reddit for a second. Look at this consolidation. It gives you that feeling of GEV. Now, GEV is moving to the upside. I gave you GEV on January the 2nd, I believe, right when the move was on close to the 35 SMA. Now, in the case of Reddit, we're on top of the 35 SMA. We're about to break resistance at 180 or 181. Now, this level is critical. I think if we break, and we probably will, we're going to continue moving up. This is looking beautiful. This is looking very, very nice. Now, if there is a rejection, which you got a little bit of a rejection on Friday, and you come down towards 158, I'm sorry, or towards the 35 SMA, even better, and you consolidate a little bit more, that's even better, because then the move to the upside is going to be even nicer. MACD and TSI are not looking bad. Yes, they are over the zero line. I would prefer if they were under the zero line for a move like this, but they are cooling down as you are consolidating in this area between 181 and 158. That is a good thing. So we'll see what we get here. I don't think it's too early to mention it. I would love to see maybe more consolidation, but if you break, then there is an opportunity here. So I don't think it would be smart to jump in at 181, but once you break this level, then the opportunity is going to come. Just keep an eye, or just go back to GEV and how behaved. Then you had a similar setup on Robinhood as well. There's a consolidation. So this setup works. It's not bulletproof. No setup in trading is bulletproof, but this setup, when it breaks, and it gives you some very good, I guess, rewards. Now let's move on and talk about Tesla. This is the last video of today, and very nice move. Now you can argue you had a double bottom. I don't care about that. You are over the 35 SMA. You actually broke resistance at 415 critical level. This was prior all-time highs from I think 2021, 22. I don't know. And MACD and TSI are starting to curl into their signal lines over the zero line, which is fine. The histogram is looking good. Volume is coming in. You have low liquidity between 415 and 488. What else can you ask for? I think this is going to continue moving to the upside. Now, Trump is going to be president on Monday, and of course, this is going to benefit Tesla. So, you know, don't be surprised if we actually reach 500 in the upcoming days or weeks. Or I probably should say in the upcoming weeks or maybe days. Now, up 3% on Friday. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. You had a nice move to the upside. Sellers came back in, but you still managed to close at 3% for the day. Not a bad look. The candle that you're seeing here is because, yes, you had a rally in the beginning of the day, and then you see the damage that sellers did, but it wasn't enough. It's still a nice looking candle in my opinion. You can think whatever you want. I just like this move, and I might actually buy some Tesla calls expiring August on Tuesday. I might deploy some money on Tuesday. We'll see what we get on Monday. We'll see what kind of news we get between now and Tuesday. Based upon that, I might actually start deploying money and get more risk on my trading. Okay, traders, this is all I have for today. Another video coming up tomorrow. Please subscribe and like and comment on the video. Other than that, thank you so much for the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.